Imagine you're walking through a thick, humid swamp in the heart of Africa. The air is heavy, the water is still as death, and then you see it. It doesn't blink, it doesn't move, it just stands there silently, towering and staring straight through your soul with cold, pale eyes. At first glance, you'd think you just found a museum exhibit that somehow escaped its glass case. It looks like a statue carved from grey stone. It feels less like a living animal and more like a leftover from a world that ended millions of years ago. This is the shoebill. It is a bird so strange and so unsettling that even expert scientists hesitate to call it normal. Its massive, shoe-shaped beak looks like it was ripped off the face of a dinosaur. Its posture is frozen. Its eyes don't look for seeds or berries, they lock onto you with the terrifying focus of an ancient killer. The shoebill isn't a freak of nature or a rare mutation, it is perfectly designed. But it was designed for a world that doesn't exist anymore. Today, we're diving into the mystery of the whale-headed king, and to find out why it ignores every single rule that modern birds follow. It doesn't sing, it doesn't rush, it doesn't fly through the canopy, it just waits. And once you understand what it's waiting for, you'll realize why the shoebill isn't really a bird at all. A living fossil that forgot to go extinct. The first thing that hits you when you see a shoebill is the beak. It's huge, and it's nearly 10 inches long, thick and heavy. It's shaped exactly like a wooden shoe, which is how it got its name, but don't let that fool you. This isn't a tool for pecking at berries. This is a crushing machine. The shoebill's beak is reinforced to hit with incredible force. It can snap through bone, thick fish scales, and even turtle shells in one single motion. But look at the very tip. There is a sharp, curved hook. That hook isn't for show, it acts like a biological guillotine. It's designed to sever the spinal cords of its prey with brutal, one-shot efficiency. Most modern birds evolved to be light and fast. They have thin bones and sleek bodies, so they can zip through the air. The shoebill did the opposite. It evolved to be heavy, slow, and terrifyingly deliberate. Standing over 5 feet tall, it carries its weight like a gargoyle. Its wings are massive, spanning over 8 feet, but it rarely uses them. For this bird, flight isn't the priority. Control is. Everything about its body tells us one thing. This is an animal designed for an ancient world. A world where patience mattered more than speed. This isn't a bird built for the skies. It's a bird built for the stillness of the grave. And when it finally decides to move, that stillness turns into a nightmare. If you watch a nature documentary about lions or cheetahs, you see a lot of running, chasing, and high-speed action. But the shoebill doesn't hunt in the way we understand it. It doesn't stalk, and it doesn't set up an ambush. It simply becomes part of the landscape. In the swamps of Africa, a shoebill will stand completely motionless for hours, not minutes, hours. Its body locks into position. Its breathing slows down. Its muscles relax into a statue mode that feels almost supernatural. From a distance, it looks like a dead tree stump or a weathered rock, and that is exactly what its prey sees. Nothing. Below the murky water, lungfish swim lazily. These are ancient fish that haven't changed in over 100 million years. They have to surface every now and then to breathe air. The shoebill is waiting for that one tiny ripple. And then the stone comes to life. When the fish breaks the surface, the shoebill explodes. In less than a second, that massive beak slams shut with surgical precision. The fish is lifted, crushed, and decapitated before it even realizes it's out of the water. There is no struggle. There is no escape. It's not a hunt. It's an execution. Most predators today rely on being the fastest. The shoebill relies on being inevitable. It is a strategy that feels completely out of place in the modern world. It's a ghost from the past, using a method that hasn't failed in millions of years. But the way it kills isn't the only thing that's unsettling. Wait until you hear the sound it makes when it finally decides to speak. Most animals on this planet are in a constant race. As climates shift and forests disappear, species have to change or die. This is why the world is full of thousands of different birds that are constantly evolving just to stay alive. The shoebill didn't bother. It stayed exactly the same. While other birds were developing lighter bones and faster metabolisms to fly further and hide better, the shoebill kept its heavy frame and its thick, armored skull. It didn't care about being modern. It didn't need to change, because its habitat in the deep, swampy wetlands never asked it to. This is why looking at a shoebill feels so wrong to your human brain. It's not just because it looks dangerous, it's because it belongs to an era that should be dead. It is a prehistoric blueprint that is somehow still walking around in the 21st century. It's like finding a functioning tank from a forgotten war, still sitting in the middle of a modern city. It is a glitch in the timeline. But this refusal to change comes with a dark side. Because when you're built for a world that no longer exists, your behavior starts to look, well, monstrous. And that brings us to the moment where the shoebill stops being a statue and starts being a nightmare. If you walk toward a pigeon or a robin, it flies away. Most birds spend their entire lives terrified, seeing everything as a threat. Shoebills don't run, they stare. Its eyes aren't on the sides of its head like a normal bird. This gives them binocular vision and the ability to see the world in 3D. This is a trait saved for the ultimate killers: owls, hawks, and humans. When a shoebill locks eyes with you, it doesn't blink. It doesn't flinch. It evaluates you. People who meet them in the wild always say the same thing. They feel a strange, sinking feeling in their stomach. A sense of being judged. But it's not a look of anger. It's something much worse. It is a look of total indifference. To a shoebill, you aren't a human with a life, a car, or a phone. You're just another object in its swamp. It treats you with the same cold, calculated gaze it uses on a fish before it snaps its spine. This total lack of fear is the mark of a top-tier predator, a creature that hasn't had a natural enemy in millions of years. It isn't afraid of you because, in its world, nothing is more dangerous than itself. But wait until you hear what happens when it breaks the silence. Because when this statue finally opens its mouth, it doesn't sound like a bird. It sounds like a battlefield. We've seen the statue. We've seen the stare. But now, the silence has to break. Shoebills don't behave like modern birds because they don't even sound like them. They don't have a song. They don't chirp to find a mate. And they don't squawk to warn of danger. For 99% of their lives, they are dead silent. But when they finally decide to speak, it is one of the most chilling sounds on the planet. Instead of using vocal cords to make music, the shoebill uses bill clattering. It snaps its massive upper and lower beaks together at incredible speeds. The result doesn't sound like nature. It sounds like a high-powered machine gun. It sounds like a hollow mechanical drum beating in the dark. It sounds primitive. It sounds like a ghost from the Cretaceous period. This isn't a bird trying to be pretty. This is a creature using sound as a weapon. This form of communication feels like an afterthought in evolution. It's loud, it's intimidating, and it's completely mechanical. When that sound echoes through the African swamp, everything else stops. Because in that moment, you realize you aren't looking at a feathered bird. You are looking at a living, breathing dinosaur that just broke its silence. But as terrifying as it sounds, the way it treats its own family is where the true horror lies. Even the way the shoebill raises its family feels like it belongs to a more brutal, unforgiving age. A breeding pair will usually lay 2 eggs, but in the world of the shoebill, only one of them is meant to survive. Scientists call this obligate siblicide. In plain English, it means one sibling is born to be a killer, and the other is born to be a backup plan. The stronger chick will grow faster, take up more space, and demand all the food. And the parents? They don't intervene. They don't try to save both. They don't feed the hungry one. They simply stand there, silent and still, and allow the weaker chick to fade away into the dirt. It isn't cruelty it's optimization. In a world where food is hard to find, the shoebill has a cold, mathematical rule. It's better to have one tank that can survive anything than two weaklings that might both die. It's a strategy that has worked for millions of years, even if it feels heartless to us. The shoebill doesn't have room for mercy. It only has room for perfection. But this cold-blooded logic is exactly why the shoebill is in trouble. Because the world they were built to master is finally starting to disappear. In the swamps of Central Africa, the sun isn't just a light, it's a killer. Most birds deal with the heat by fanning their wings or hiding in the shade. But the shoebill? It has a much weirder trick up its sleeve. Instead of fanning its chicks, it turns its massive beak into a bucket. When the temperature hits the danger zone, the parent flies to the nearest pool of water, scoops up as much as it can carry, and returns to the nest to literally dump a cold shower over its eggs. It's not nurturing in the way we think of it. It's direct, like a machine, and it's incredibly efficient. Every single thing a shoebill does is designed to keep it in low power mode. It doesn't move unless it has to. It doesn't breathe fast. It doesn't even make a sound unless it's absolutely necessary. It is a master of doing the absolute minimum to stay alive. While other animals are burning through energy, running and screaming, the shoebill is sitting perfectly still, letting the world happen around it. It's like a computer that has been running the same simple program for 30 million years. And it doesn't need updates and doesn't need to change. But there is a catch. Because when you are this specialized, when you are this perfect, for one specific environment, you become incredibly fragile. The very things that make the shoebill a masterpiece are the things that might finally destroy it. In the world of evolution, we're taught that the fast and the smart are the ones who win the race. So you have to wonder, how is this slow, strange, prehistoric ghost still here? Usually, being stuck in the past is a death sentence. But the shoebill survived because it found a loophole in the laws of nature. Its habitat, the thick, swampy wetlands of Africa, hasn't changed in millions of years. While the rest of the planet was freezing over, burning up, and growing cities, these swamps stayed exactly the same. As long as there is deep mud, tall grass, and slow-moving fish, the shoebill remains the undisputed king. Evolution doesn't care about being pretty. It doesn't care about being friendly. It only cares about what works. And the shoebill works. It is living proof that if you find a perfect strategy, you don't need to change for anyone. It didn't need to become smarter because it was already perfect. It didn't need to become faster because nothing could escape it anyway. It is the only animal on Earth that looked at the last 30 million years of progress and said, I'm fine exactly where I am. But there is a haunting reality we have to face, because even a king who has ruled for millions of years can be taken down by a world that is finally moving too fast. When you look into the eyes of a shoebill, you aren't just looking at a bird, you are looking at a survivor from a chapter of Earth's history that should be closed. It is a living museum that represents a time when patience was more dangerous than speed, silence was more powerful than noise, and survival didn't care how unsettling or ugly you looked to the rest of the world. The shoebill is a chilling reminder that evolution doesn't always erase the past. Sometimes it just steps aside and lets the past keep walking. This is the closest thing we have to seeing a real, living dinosaur in the wild. It's not just because of its scaly legs or its massive prehistoric beak, it's because of its soul. It has the cold, calculating energy of a predator that was designed before mercy or beauty were even invented. It doesn't belong to our world of cities and screens. It belongs to the mud and the mist. But there is a dark truth we have to realize before we walk away, because even a creature that survived the extinction of the dinosaurs is now facing a threat it cannot outwait. Long after the great dinosaurs vanished and the world moved on, the shoebill stayed behind. It didn't shrink to hide from us. It didn't soften its edges to look more natural. And it certainly didn't adapt to fit into our world. it simply stayed. Right now, in the deepest swamps of South Sudan and Uganda, it is still out there. It is standing perfectly motionless in the mud, watching a modern world that is moving far too fast to ever notice it. It doesn't look like a living fossil by accident. It is a masterpiece of biology that decided it was already finished millions of years ago. The past isn't gone, it's just very, very patient. The Shoebill is a reminder that while we build our cities and change our lives every single day, there are things in the dark corners of this planet that don't care about our progress. They don't care about our technology. They are the shadows of an older, colder Earth, and they are still breathing. Next time you think the world is fully understood, remember the whale-headed king, the bird that refuses to blink. Because the next time you look into the mist, the past might just be staring right back at you. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching.